Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond Words Presents. I'm Rachel and I'm sitting in for Whitney again this week. And today we're here with Charlie Lustman, creator of the one-man pop opera Made Me Nuclear. Welcome to the show, Charlie.
Woohoo! Nice to be on the planet today. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be so much fun. I'm very excited.
Thanks for having me here.
You betcha. So before we jump in, I just want to remind our viewers that you can engage in the conversation today by submitting questions, comments, anything really, via Twitter using our hashtag BWPresents or through the Google Hangouts app. And if you like our show, please support us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So with all of that out of the way now, we can jump in with Charlie. And I would love it if you would just talk a little bit about your project, the Made Me Nuclear show, and how you came to create it.
Well, it's funny that you say, can you talk about your nuclear show? You know, I'm lucky that I get to talk, that I get to even chew, because I had an osteosarcoma, a very rare cancer in my jaw. So I had this little bump in my gum line, and I went to the dentist, and he's like, I don't know what that is. And then after 2 weeks of going through like 200 years of specialists, you know, together combined, their ages, 200 years of people, I call it, they finally said, well, why don't we just cut that little thing out and send it to a lab? And it came back osteosarcoma of the upper maxillary, which is bone cancer in your jaw. 15 people get it a year, at least recorded. 15. That makes me really lucky. I'm going to Vegas right now because I just won the lottery. You know, I'm supposed to have won mega millions twice. I'm still waiting for my check. But I did get the greatest lottery ticket of all. I'm still here. Woo!
That's excellent.
And I get to do what I love, and I love what I do, which is music and singing and sharing this message that I created from the chemo chair. So about 3 months into cancer, in cancer college, I call it, my freshman year, I sat in the chair and I thought to myself, I am not going to die from this. I might get hit by a bus on the way home, but I'm not going to die from this weird, strange cancer thing. And I began to plot, well, what is this all about? First, of course, it's the why me, because you think, why me? Why is this happening to me? And then I got over that really quick. Well, what should happen to my pregnant wife? She was 7 months pregnant. My 3-year-old kid, my parents, my best friends, I mean, my brother, my sister, I mean, who should get this thing, right? Well, you know, you gave it to the right guy. You know, I was strong. I could take it. And so I got over why me fast. Then it was about why. Why? Why is this happening? And of course, I'm a songwriter. And some, you know, the executive producer up there, whoever you believe or whatever you believe is up there, said, I will give this project to you now. Boom. I'm like, wow. You know, a good nervous breakdown probably would have been just fine for me, right? But I guess it had to be this crazy cancer experience. And I started writing from the chemo chair a pop opera called Made Me Nuclear. Because they nuked me. This Russian woman, she came at me with a 3-inch needle, and she's like, I will inject you with the fluid. I was like, wait a minute. And she pulled it out of a metal can that had a radiation symbol on it, and she was wearing a metal suit. And I'm thinking, something is very wrong here. And she's like, Urgh! And she gives me this nuclear fluid, and that was the whole premise of Made Me Nuclear, that they nuked me. And I became Nuclear Man. Ready?
Okay.
Nuclear Man!
Excellent!
Oh, wait. Nuclear Man! So the idea is that I'm turning it into like a comic strip superhero. You know, that's like the idea. And of course, you know, it's got to have a theme song. Yes, they shot me. They made me nuclear. And they told me that it would make me glow. Oh, yes, they radiated me, 'cause they want to see my bones. Yeah. So that's the whole idea.
Excellent.
Yeah, so Nuclear Man was born, and I just started writing these things and writing these things as things happened. I would write about that. I mean, so many surreal things. I mean, the first thing you're so scared, and then you're like depressed, and then denial, and then anger. Got very angry, and of course, here I'm facing having to have my jaw sawed off. They're gonna saw off my jaw to save my life. Okay, so I was like, well, will I be able to continue singing? And they looked at me like, you might want to focus on living, like surviving, and then maybe you might be able to like say something, and you'll be lucky if you'll ever chew again. Wow, chew again. Okay, that's smoothies. I had smoothies for a year. They were pretty good, but I mean, after 3 smoothies, you're pretty done. Yeah, I had like 2,000 smoothies, but I just wanted to sing. I just like, okay, fine, I just want to sing. So that was one of my motivations to like, I'm gonna sing again. I'm gonna sing again, and it was kind of nutty because when I went to get the first round, because I ended up with 2 maxillectomies, 2 times they cut my jaw. I didn't fall asleep in pre-op. They put the mask on you, breathe deeply, right? And they're going to roll me in, and I wasn't asleep yet. They rolled me into the operating room, and I saw that power saw on the table. Oh. It was like, whoa. Just that one split second. It was very wrong. Don't do that, right? I woke up, I'm like, I couldn't, like, I was out of control. I mean, I had taken everything away from me, my clothes, right? Just everything, and then my jaw. I kind of sounded like a seal from SeaWorld for a while. Like, people threw fish at me. It was very embarrassing. That's not funny. Don't laugh. It's funny. It's true. It's true. No, you can laugh. Okay. Now you can look back and laugh at it. Back then, I would have killed you if you laughed. But,
okay. Well, do you find that premise?
What's that?
Do you find that the humor and the songwriting and the music, is that one of the main things that helped you keep moving forward through it?
Absolutely. Well, for sure. But at the time, even though I was writing the humor of it, I wasn't very in a humorous mood. Mm-hmm. But yet, as a writer and going through, and I'm looking at it, it had humor all over it. Mm-hmm. So I wrote in the humor into the piece. It's all over it. It's I would say it's 60% comedy. Mm-hmm. If it's not in the lyrics, it's in the monologues, in the show. It's all funny. I mean, when I called the doctor, who's supposedly the specialist that's going to save my life, and I mean, if only 15 people get this a year, how many doctors really know what this is, right?
Right.
So luckily there was one in my backyard in Los Angeles where I was living at the time. And I call the office, and I'm like, I need to speak to Mr. Forger, Dr. Forger, Charlie Forger, please, And the secretary's like, well, he's at a funeral. Can I take a message?
Oh.
I mean, that's what I mean, So there comes Nuclear Man. Yeah, it was like that. It was like that. So I mean, coming out of surgery and having everything taken away from you in a sense, you're left with like one thing. They left me with one thing, the button. Like, I don't know if anybody out there understands what the button is, but it releases a dose of morphine into your body, okay? Because they had just sawed my jaw off, and it kind of hurt, okay? People were like, you did heroin? I'm like, are you kidding me? Most of the drug addicts in the world are in the hospital. They're not on the streets. It's controlled heroin controlled. They give you morphine so you don't feel anything. Yeah, that's pretty much. So that's all I had was that button. They gave it to me. Like I get to click it. Like I had control of the button. So if I was in terrible pain, click. So I was, of course, click, 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 click. You get hooked pretty quickly on that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I had to do 3 years of rehab after the hospital. I mean, it was terrible. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Comedy. But yeah, it's a surreal thing, So, let's see. Oh man, it's so surreal to me, the life that we've got. 'Cause one day you are in control, then suddenly you're not. Oh, na 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 na.
Yeah.
And it really is surreal. The whole experience is surreal. But the way I designed this, the whole, as a writer, it's the hero's journey. You guys out there, if you know every great story, every great legend, myth, whatever, always has this cycle. Joseph Campbell, you know, it's this journey where we're going along on our path, and all of a sudden, bam! Something, be it cancer, be it a nervous breakdown, be it a car accident, or the death of a loved one that just happens suddenly, or anything like that, where all of a sudden your everyday life is not your everyday life anymore, and you realize how fragile this whole thing is, that it just, like in a flash, it's all going to change. And it was at that point where, of course, you go through all those feelings, which are so important to allow yourself to go through all those feelings. The denial, the depression, the anger, which led me to the first, call it messenger, which is part of the hero's journey, is that wise one, the wise one. Whoever that is, okay, it could be a religious connection, or a spiritual connection, or just somebody on the street who you bump into who looks at you and tells you something that makes you realize that you're on this journey and that there is a liberation somewhere down the line. Something, no matter how much time you have on the planet, that really is the real twist to it. It's not really about how much time you have. So if you're diagnosed with something and they say, oh, you're going to live like for a month, first of all, that's just an opinion, an educated guess. But or that you have another 40, 50 years of life, we all don't know. So it really is about what you get right here, right now, that you could feel good. That's really it. So I bump into Dr. O, who was my surgeon. And I come into his office, and I'm in the anger mode. Okay, I'm angry. And they put me into his private office until he walks in to consult me, because he's basically consulting me about sawing off my jaw. So I'm looking at the wall with all the certificates, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's a state college. I don't know about that. I want Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Oxford, right? State college. And he walks in, and I'm very angry. And he says, hey, relax, let me tell you a story. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Tell me a story. And he tells me that he had a rare blood cancer 10 years back, a rare blood cancer, and that they couldn't do anything for him, and they gave him a year to live. And he says to me, I'm a scientist. My peers are telling me, we're talking about the best of the best on the planet, are telling me there's nothing they can do for me. No, I'm a surgeon. I'm at the top of my game. And I get this card out of nowhere. He says, Charlie, you have to believe in something bigger than what you see. This is not just a body journey. This is a mind, spirit, body journey, or mind, body, spirit, or however, whatever you want to share that. And I he got me right there. I was like, yeah, okay. When he told me that story about him, I'm like, and he's still here. And I'm like, so he's like, look, I can do amazing things for your body. I'm one of the best in this city to do what needs to get done. So that's going to get done. But your spirit and your mind, that's up to you. And that's 2 out of 3 for mind, body, spirit. That's 2 out of 3. That puts you in control, truly. Wow. I was like, what's this guy saying to me? He's like, look, your mind, create a positive outlook. Envision what it looks like for you after this. Start to see it in your mind. Create a visualization. I mean, here's this surgeon, this Western medicine guy telling me, expand your mind. I was like, what? Who is this guy, you know? I mean, I fell in love with this man. I look at him, I'm like, I love you. He's like, I love you too. And then he said the spirit. I'm not talking about religion unless that's your thing. I mean, I'm talking about spirit, what you believe in, that there's something bigger than just what you see in you in the mirror, or what you see in me and what I can do for you. Like I said, I can do the best job on this, but it's really going to take you to make this journey complete for you, no matter what the future brings. Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, that was like mind-boggling to me. I walked out of the office, I was like, okay, I get it, you know. And I turned back at him and I'm like, you could saw off my jaw, you know. You got my thumbs up. You're the man, you know, saw off my jaw.
Well, and I know there are a lot of people, I know in my life even, you know, my grandmother passed away from cancer, and my mother is going through her journey right now. And there's a lot of friends, you know, it seems to be touching a lot more. And so how do you bring somebody from the space of the anger and the defeat to a place where you had your mind blown of, oh yeah, this is more than just this, it's something else. Well, in your experience maybe, how did you move beyond that to this other place, and how might other people try to do that?
Well, the first thing is even to get to what you just shared, to even ask the question of how can I make this journey feel better, mm-hmm. even though what's happening is happening. If it's cancer, if it's economic, mm-hmm. you know, ruin, if it's divorce or breaking up with someone, if it's the loss of, you know, it's a very universal question. It's not just cancer, right? I mean,
right,
of course, that's a big one because you're facing this concept of, you know, mortality, mm-hmm. right? So mm-hmm. just to ask that question is the first thing, and you have to be ready to ask that question. In other words, the idea is not to stop yourself from feeling what you feel. That's first off the bat. And I learned this at a positive mental seminar for cancer patients. So I went for help because I was ready for something, because I was having a very bad time. Mm-hmm. I was afraid to die. My wife was pregnant. There was just so much suffering around it. And I was tired of that. So I had come to a place where I was ready mm-hmm. to ask that question. So everybody out there, I bet you're watching this now because you are ready. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be watching this, because you're wanting to have some enlightenment in this process, whatever that process is that's hurting you. So I went away to a mental seminar because I had read a book about how I can turn this entire cancer thing into something positive, which I thought was just in bad taste. You know, people had books out that like, cancer is good for you. I'm like, huh? Like, you gotta be kidding me. And then I read it and I started to understand what they meant. That there is an awakening somewhere in here, but we have to be ready. So you let your feelings flow, and that's what they taught us at the seminar. Now, the seminar was in Santa Barbara. It was on the grounds of an old monastery, like 200-year-old monastery. So it was a religious, the grounds were religious, but it was a spiritual experience with the Simonton Center. And O. Carl Simonton was a radiologist in the 60s who had two patients that had the exact same diagnosis and prognosis. And one was very down and negative and fearful and everything. And the other patient was so positive and looking at life like, well, I'm here and I have another day. And that person lived a very long time. And the other person who was negative and afraid actually passed away way before they were even supposed to. Mm-hmm. So he realized there's something going on here. And so for the next 40 years of his life, he followed that path to create a program to create positivity. So I was at the seminar, and we were learning first to let your feelings flow. So denial, depression, anger, all these heart, fear, let it flow, be able to express, you know. So I had a support group, which was really helpful, and everybody was just expressing because people couldn't understand us, what we're going through. And at this seminar, most of the cancer patients who came were already told there's nothing we can do for you. So they were searching out for something bigger than what in the mind, body, spirit, just the body. They're just telling us about the body, but again, the mind and the spirit is, you know, majority rules there. You could really create out of that. Miracles happen all the time when you tap into that. So we learn to express ourselves and let our feelings go. And the idea is once you get to the end of those feelings, meaning you're tired. I'm just so exhausted of being afraid. I'm so tired of being angry. I'm just exhausted. There's got to be something else. And that's the moment where we learn to flip it. And that's the whole idea. And I've been working on a flip it concept book for years, and I've been jotting notes and notes and notes on every kind of flip there is. Okay. And the idea here is when you get to the end of that feeling and you're tired, the flip it is to think of the polar opposite of what it was you're upset about, depressed about, afraid of, angry at. What's the polar opposite? Well, let's be extreme. If you're afraid to die, the polar opposite is live like you have never lived it before. I mean, take the dial and turn it to 10 and break it off, okay? I mean,
Yes.
woo! I think people call it like the bucket list, like do it all that you want to do before you die. Well, guess what? Nobody knows how much time they have. Today is the bucket list. What, you're 22? Well, gee, you have no idea what's coming. You don't. Live it now. Oh, you just got out of college and you're not sure, well, I studied this, but you've got to go with what you love and just live it because this is it, okay? Yeah. And once you tap into that, it's like there's this shift. And of course, when you're starting to think in a positive way, positive things start to show up for you. All this stuff starts to show up for you. I guess you guys know that because you put out the secret.
We do kind of know that concept.
Law of attraction, you know, what you put out, it comes back. I mean, that's like a karma thing too, you know. Mm-hmm. So good things come when you. So that's how I worked it. I started to flip it over, everything that was happening. And of course, as a writer, I'm like, okay, I'm going to write this thing. Now, I spent 5 days at that seminar, and I got so pumped up. And it was in the seminar that I got the message, that it came to me. And it actually came in a religious format, which who knew? I'm not a very religious man. But I couldn't sleep on the third night. I just couldn't sleep. And I got up, and it was like midnight, 1 o'clock. The moon was up, and I walked this path down the, you know, in this monastery, which led to the doors of a church. Mm. I was like, wow, and there were like these big plank doors, you know, like Spanish galleon, right? And I the door open because it was open, it was cracked. I'm like, Arr! And I look inside, and there were candles lit everywhere. Wow, I was just like, this is beautiful. And I'm like, hello, hello, hello. Is anybody here? Here. And there was nobody there, but candles were lit throughout the church. So I walk in, whoa, like right in front of me, from almost the floor all the way to the top of the ceiling was Jesus on the cross, cut out of wood. And it was old. It was like 35 feet high. I was like, wow. This is pretty intense. And again, I'm not like a religious guy, but I mean, Jesus was cool. He believed in love, and he wanted people to get along and love each other. I mean, that was really every great prophet that walked the earth had the same message. So I was like, wow, okay, you have a message for me, right? I get that because it's the middle of the night, and I'm in this church. I'm in your house, and okay, I am ready to receive. So I like close my eyes, and And I'm standing there and nothing. I get nothing. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I'm starting to think, like I'm going back, I'm thinking, I got this rare cancer and I'm in Los Angeles, and then somebody gives me this book a couple of months into my journey, and I read it, and then I find out that the guy is having a seminar an hour away, and I get into my car and I drive from LA up north, and here I am, and I'm on the third day and I can't sleep, and I walk down this path and I walk into this church, and there you are, and I am ready to receive your message to me. Nothing. Nothing. Okay, now I'm getting a little frustrated, but I'm at a positive mental seminar, okay? So they say in your frustration, there's a sign. Look for a sign that has the message in it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting frustrated at all. It's actually the process of seeing the sign, which I love that. Every frustration has something in there that's giving you a message. So I'm doing this like, see the sign in my frustration, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and my hands are pointing to a piece of furniture that's under the feet of Jesus, covered in a blanket. And I'm like, okay. So I take the blanket off, and it's a piano. It's a piano, like an old spinet. And I look up, I'm like, you are really slick. Because I'm a piano player. I'm like, this is really trippy. And so I sit down at the piano, and I start to play the first chord that just comes to my heart, and out comes almost everyone I've known's been afraid of the call. And then my phone rings, and it tells me it's all gonna change. And so I listen to the doctor, but I don't hear anymore. As he tries to explain, I am standing, unable to move. The moment that he told me, it felt like someone shot me, frozen like a snowman in the cold. And when I put the phone down, I felt my body trembling, thinking, is this really happening to me? Now I like bounced back from the piano like I was sucked into something. I'm like, I was like, what was that? Oh, whoa. Because I don't usually write like that. I'm very obsessive, compulsive, obsessive guy. Like I write lyrics, and then and I write and I work and I work. Finally get a lyric in a couple of days, and then I'll bring in the music if it's piano, if it's guitar, and I work that, and then the lyrics can change, and I finally come out with something, right? This just right through. Why? Because I had left myself so open to receive, and it just came through, which is another big thing I learned about this journey, is as I let go of everything, wonderful things start to come through. It comes through, and it goes right into the heart. You know, it's just beautiful. I mean, here's like an exercise that I love. Like you take a pen or a pencil, right? Grab one, Rachel. Go ahead.
Okay.
There you go. And now squeeze it as hard as you can. Hold on. Hold on to that feeling that you don't want to let go of, or that life you have that you're upset about, and everything, and then drop it. Oh. Does that feel good?
Wow, that feels kind of nice.
Yeah, it's just a simple reminder of how we hold on to things. So, like, it's got to be, you know. No, all you got to be is all you got to breathe. That's all you got to do is breathe, right?
Right.
And then start again and go outside and look at a tree, and then go to work and make $1 million. Whatever, you know, whatever you do. But, like, it all starts with that letting go feeling of things that you feel they have to be, and then you receive, like things start to come, and then use all these things I learned there in envisioning, creative visualization, see these things in your mind. I was so pumped up after that seminar. I went back home, I went to my support group, and I got kicked out for being too supportive. I mean, you know, I was all like, but you guys, you know, they were like saying, but if you flip it around, and they're like, leave now. So I guess I had completed my support group phase of my, I mean, it was great for, like I had shared earlier, to allow the feelings, the fear, the anger, the depression, to let that out. Now I had already turned the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that was how my hero's journey was starting to take off.
Right.
Okay? So then I'm facing a year of chemotherapy just in case it's spread. Okay? Just in case. Now that's a tall order because I've been always kind of a natural guy. I'm into herbs, like if you get a cold, echinacea, golden seal, some, spicy something drink, you drink it and fire comes out of your nose and ears, like, oh, I'm all good now. Yeah, I'm one of those guys, right?
Right.
And here the doctor's telling me I'm still in the bed now after surgery, after the second surgery, the second one. They didn't get it all out in the first cut. So I went through the entire surgical recovery process again.
Mm.
And he comes in and he says, I actually, let's see. And the doctor said, I hope you're feeling better soon so we can start your treatment right away. You see, we want to make sure, so we planned a year of chemo for your birthday. Yeah, for my birthday. Well, it was. He looks at me and he looks at the chart and he's like, we're going to start you on a year of chemotherapy just in case it spread a week from next Monday. And I'm like, oh! He threw me a piece of fish and he's like, okay, relax. Throw fish at me. Maybe a little kibble. But yeah, so then he looks at the chart because I'm like, oh! And he's looking at the chart like, what's the problem? And I took a piece of paper and I'm like, not on my birthday. Because a week from Monday was my birthday. I'm like, have a heart. You can't start me on chemo on my birthday. I'll never have a regular birthday as long as I live. I'm going to vomit every time May 8th comes. It's your birthday. Oh,
No.
I never said that before. I like that. I'm going to remember that. Yeah, so he's like, oh, we'll start you a week from Tuesday. I'm like, thanks, Doc. Now, I mean, I have a real hard time with that because here I'm facing the most lethal chemicals known to mankind that's supposed to save mankind. I mean, can't they just start me with like a shot of NyQuil and a Sudafed or something?
Yeah, something small.
Yeah. But then again, I was already hooked on heroin, so I mean, what's chemo, right? Bring it on, man, bring it on. Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do. They tell me things I can't believe it's true. That if I want a better chance to live, I've got to follow the advice they give. They say the situation, it can be dire. This may have spread just like a forest fire. 22 rounds of chemotherapy. That is the answer that they have for me. Is it the only way? The only way to stop that cell inside that can threaten me, so I can be there for my family. Well, I heard about a place in Mexico. You heard about that place, right? Hey, they can alter you from head to toe. And people have been going there since the 70s. But nothing comes with any guarantees. Is it the only way? The only way to stop those cells inside that threaten me, so I can be there for my family? Why not try extracts from the Amazon and shots of wheatgrass till the threat is gone, and search for healers down in India? Find the antidote from a tribe in Africa. The doctor says I've got no time to lose. The day has come for me and I must choose 22 rounds of chemotherapy. That's what the scientists have found to be the only way, to win the battle that's inside of me. Then I will do this for my family. And so I did. 22 rounds over 11 months. And it was during that time that I decided I'm going to write this thing. And man, I wrote funny songs, crazy songs, everything that was happening through chemo. It was just wild. And it's funny that years later, I'd go in to infusion centers all over America and in Europe, and I sing those songs that I wrote in the chemo chair. Now, if I had taken the integrative or the alternative, I mean, integrative I did, but the alternative approach, which would be complete mind, spirit, and not Western medicine on the body, but, you know, wheatgrass or bark from the Amazon or healers. I mean, I did go see healers. I mean, I went to healers who never even touched me. They just like did some kinesiology kind of things. They never, well, they did touch me when I handed them the check. They touched me. That's a joke. I actually got some really great healing from people in those modalities. I believe it's what you believe in. It's what truly you believe in. I mean, you could be healed by someone who doesn't even touch you, who just has this enlightenment and the strength of energy, and you believe that in your heart and soul, miracles can happen. So I'm a big advocate of anything works as long as you believe it. So I had to take the chemo route as well as all the different things. I did wheatgrass in between my infusions. I did eat tree bark from the Amazon. I did so many different things, healers and acupuncture was amazing, and I bounced back to each chemo strong, and I had less side effects too. Once I got positive in my mind, really positive, and I could envision writing a pop opera about surviving cancer. I hadn't even survived yet, but I was already creating it with visualization. I was already doing these these integrative things to help me through the process, and I was not as sick as I was before. In fact, things were changing. I was humorous. I was funny already at this point. I mean, they brought me the big bottle of methotrexate, which was a chemo, and it was very orange, and the nurse came in, and she always checks your band and everything and makes you sign and all that. And I look at her, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, it's not fresh squeezed. It was so orange, you know. She brought me concentrate. I don't drink concentrate. You know, and she would, at first she wouldn't laugh. She was like nervous. I'm like, you could laugh. That was funny. And so I lightened up all the nurses. I mean, they brought me the red stuff with adriamycin, which a lot of women going through breast cancer know adriamycin very well. Mm-hmm. It's very red, and she does the same thing. The other nurse checks my band, all these things, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I just can't do that. I can't take that. She's like, why not? I'm like, because I asked for a Cabernet. You know? And she brings me Merlot. Didn't she see the movie Sideways? You never drink Merlot. Never. Remember that scene? It's like, yeah. No Merlot. Yeah. So, I mean, my whole way of seeing everything, because I knew that, you know, the doctor who comes in, I'd look at him, and he was my oncologist. He was a beautiful man, really wonderful man. And I knew already that I might not see him the next day. Not because I die, it's because he may. He may not make it through the night. Nobody knows. Once I got that nobody knows if they're going to make it to the next day, that today is the day, man, turn the dial to 10 and break it off and live, if it's cancer or not. So here I am. I'm like, I'm writing an opera, and I'm going to go around the world, and I'm going to sing this thing for people who are going through this hero's journey, which now I had already started to turn the corner, and I was like, woo, getting ready for Liberation Day, you know? So years later, here I am walking into an infusion center and singing a song about chemo brain, okay? Because when you do a lot of chemo, you get a little forgetful, okay? And they call it chemo brain,
Right.
you know? They call it chemo brain. I had to write a chemo brain song. So I walk into an infusion center. I just did in New York. I was in NYU, the Langone Cancer Center. And I walk into infusion, and everybody's hooked to the bottle, and it's totally quiet, and it's actually kind of depressing in there. I was like, hey, what's going on in here? You know, I walk in with my love guitar, and I'm like, hi, everybody. And I mean, people look at me like, who let this man in the building? And I'm like, how about a song? You know, I heard one woman say to the guy next to her, like, it can't get much worse.
Oh,
you know?
no.
Well, come on. They're hooked up to a chemo bottle.
Yes.
And they look out the window and they see all of Manhattan doing stuff. And they're in there, right? But my goal is to go in there and have some fun. You know, not make fun of it, but have some fun. Well, baby, it's not strange the things I do for a guy who's had a dose or two. Well, sorry, I forgot the chicken cooking on the range, and I almost burned the kitchen down. My wife had not come back from town. It's chemo brain, chemo brain. Oh, don't be mad at me, 'cause baby, can't you see I'm not to blame? It's chemo brain. I'm having fun, you know. I mean, I'm like, chemo brain, chemo brain. I mean, they grab their like bottles of chemo. They're like, chemo brain, chemo brain. Everybody's like, woo-hoo. The nurses are like, no, don't do that, don't do that. You know? That's $20,000 right there in a bottle. Don't break it, you know. I mean, it was crazy, and it was so much fun. And you know, I walk out of that infusion center, and people are like, wow, you know, wow.
Well, I'm just sitting across from you getting so inspired listening to you, and some of our viewers I see are getting inspired too. So I just wanted to take a little second to go over a viewer question and also let people know that
we got a viewer question?
We have a viewer question.
I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay.
And I just wanted to let people also know, I mean, they've been getting a taste of your music and how you can flip things and come at things in a different way. And I just want to let people know that you are going to have this booklet CD coming out later this year.
Yes, I am. A book. It's actually a book that's shaped like a CD. Well, here's the cover we're working on right now. I don't know if you can see that. There
Perfect.
I am. Woohoo!
Yes.
I just had a triple latte. See that? Woohoo! Triple latte.
And this is actually what we're offering everybody during your show is they get a chance to pre-order this. And it's going to be 40% off, so you get this for $11.37.
$11.37. Wait, I like that number. I gotta put that down somewhere. $11.37. Wow.
I personally would love to get a copy of this for my own mother. And so if anyone is interested, please feel free to go to beyondword.com/Lustman to place that order.
Lustman. That's my last name. Can you imagine that? Lustman.
I love that.
Well, my wife accuses me of not living up to it, but that's a different story.
Oh, well. Well, let's go to the viewer question because I think it takes into consideration some of what you were talking about how you, your mental and beliefs and how that plays into your healing. And so our viewer question is, I just love your energy and your ability to embrace life with such enthusiasm and joy in spite of everything you have had to deal with. Do you believe that laughter and music has the ability to physically heal us?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And as I said earlier, it's truly what we also believe in. Look, if you don't believe that and people are showing you comedy and there's music playing and you don't believe it, then it's not going to do anything for you. But if you believe that laughter and music is something that you drop all these fears, all these things like that, the pen or the pencil thing, you know, and drop and just let go, and you allow joy and laughter into your heart, and you allow music into your soul, the healing properties are there. It's part of what is the most beautiful part of our humanity. And it's a sad thing that as we come out of our 3-4-year-old place to the first idea that something is wrong in this world, be it came from your family or your teacher or something out there that just made you for the first time feel that something's wrong. That's that first moment that just a little teeny piece was taken from that joy, from that pure beauty of this world, which was laughter, playing, music, dance, all those things. You know, people tell me you do what you love and you love what you do, but how do I do that? And I'm like, well, what do you love? Like, I don't know. I'm like, you don't know? Okay, you got to go back. Go back. Rewind to when you were a kid. What did you love to do? Well, I love to dance. I'm like, do you dance? No. Well, why not? Dance. Yeah, well, I'm 60 years old. It's great. You're 60. You're not 90. And you could dance when you're 92. It might be a little slower, but you can dance. And I'm not saying that that should be your like career. I'm just saying that that's what takes away all those things, those judgments that we constantly have, that our brain keeps telling us that something is wrong. And when these things keep telling us in our brain something's wrong, we don't feel good anymore. We feel terrible. Judging always makes us feel not happy. So how do we replace the judgment in our mind with the joy, with laughter and music and dance and painting and whatever it was? Well, by practicing. We have to practice. We must force ourselves. Look, I'm sure everybody has a playground nearby where they live, where the kids are playing, okay? Everybody out there, I know there's a playground in your hood, okay? Go swing on a swing. Don't worry, the kids will look at you like, who's this adult on the swing, you know? And parents will look at you like, what's this person doing out here on the swing? Pay no attention. That's the world judging. See, they're judging, and they're not happy. Okay, so we empathize with them. Like I'm so sorry that you don't want to come and swing with me. But you get on that swing and swing, right? Or you get on the teeter-totter and like, hey, kid, come over here. Would you teeter-totter with me? And just like go on the teeter-totter and connect with that. And that's the answer to the question is, does laughter and comedy, music heal? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we have to work to tap back into it. That's how it works, see? And that's a practice. And I mean, a lot of the books, the Beyond Words, the Mind, Body, Spirit books, they're all telling us, okay, here's a program, here's an idea, but we have to practice it. But what's great is the more we practice those things, the more it just comes more natural to click back in. So you're like reprogramming all those things that people said and that you believe were wrong. You're reprogramming, because the real truth truly is deep there in your heart that got covered up by so many different things, okay? And you have the power. You have it. Sure, there are guides, there are books, and I have this music that shares my story and everything, but at the end of the day, it's already there. It's inside. You just got to push all this stuff out of the way so you can get to your truth. And you know what your truth is? Your truth is you're beautiful. You're special. You're amazing. You're love. You're hope. You're kind. You're worth it. It's all there. And I found a way to inspire people to get back in there with the music, see? Now, I think it's time to show everyone what happened to me so you can understand. You ready? You ready? Now, if you don't like the Discovery Channel, look away for just a minute, okay?
Okay.
Oh. Uh, I can't talk. I don't know. Uh, So look, I'm still here, and I'm doing what I love to do with a prosthetic jaw. I mean, what's stopping us out there, right? If this guy can do it, I finished what they said I had to do. And right before my life turned 42, they said that I was clean and clear to go back to the outside world I used to know. But I can't go back to what I was, 'cause I'm somebody new. And I am. I really did. That coming into the final stretch on the hero's journey, graduating from cancer college, that's what I call it, a lucky graduate, and going into the world doing what I love to do, which is music, and sharing it, and just sharing what I got, and showing everyone that, whatever is challenging you out there, whatever that is, this is it. Like what we have right now. How can we see the positive? How can we see an opportunity, a possibility in it? Because it's there. We just have to find it. We have to find it. Because it's really not about how much time we have on the planet when we're worrying about something as extreme as, am I going to die? Well, guess what? You are. We all are. We're all going in the same direction, back into the energy, into the source, which, by the way, is another idea that I won't get deeply into here, just for a moment, to say we're energy, and we go back into this beautiful source of energy, and then there may be a recycling moment here. Recycling is kind of hip these days.
Yes, it is.
So dying is also has a rebirth in it. So, but that's for another time. But it's not about how much time we have. It's what we do with the time we have. That's truly it. So how do we embrace that? How do we embrace that? So I have a way, by sharing the story of a guy who lost his job but found his voice, and is out there bringing this music to the stage and into the hospitals and at schools and spiritual retreats and conferences. And I mean, I'm out there singing for everyone every chance I can get to share this message that today is it. I mean, this is not a new concept here. Carpe diem. I mean, there's a lot of people who've cornered the market on the power of now and the secret of life and all these things. My way is to do it through music and to tell the story and to jump in the air with my love guitar and really say, hey, what's stopping you? You've got to do what you love. Do what you love what you do. You got to love all you can, waiting for you to do what you love. There's no other way, and don't be afraid. Just take every day and do what you love, 'cause life is such a big surprise. You never know what lies right up ahead. Make your plans, but don't forget, no, to do what you love and love what you do. You gotta love all you can. I'm waiting for you to do what you love. There's no other way, and don't be afraid. Just take every day and do what you love. So don't wait for the lights to change or something strange to happen to us all, 'cause this is the time to take control. Not bad for a prosthetic jaw, huh? And do what you love what you do, love all you can. It's all up to you. Do what you love, there's no other way. And don't be afraid, just take every day and do what you love. Do what you love. Do what you love.
I don't know a better note, to end on than that. That is.
It's really just the beginning, you know. You may say the end. which means the beginning is about to happen for you guys out there again. Every day, right? A new beginning.
Right. Yeah. So I want to thank you so much, Charlie, for joining us today. It was a pleasure. I loved listening to you, and I hope all of our viewers enjoyed themselves once again. He has a CD, a booklet CD, that is coming out this fall. It's going to be beautiful, and it shares his whole journey. And you can't, there it is. You can get that by going to beyondword.com/Lustman. And we are giving that to you for $11.37. That's 40% off the retail price.
Cool, and people can also join me on the road on my Facebook. It's the Musical Hope Campaign. That's what we call it. Maybe Nuclear is the play, but the Musical Hope Campaign is the campaign across America to bring a message of hope and healing, and today is the day. So facebook.com/Musical Hope Campaign. Join us on the tour bus.
Yes, excellent. So I just wanted to, again, thank you, Charlie, and also let you know what's going to be coming up next week. We are going to be talking with Jackie Walker and Pamela Dittmer-McEwen, the authors of Expressionista. They're going to be talking about true style, which is about dressing to express yourself, no matter what others think and no matter the situation. So we'll see you next week. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you. Do what you love what you do, love all you can, waiting for you to do what you love. There's no other way, and don't be afraid. Just take every day and do what you love. Ooh, don't wait for the lights to change and something strange to happen to us all. This is the time, take control, and do what you love what you do. You gotta love all you can, waiting for you. Do what you love, there's no other way, and don't be afraid. Just take every day and do what you love. Do what you love. Do what you love.